Namaskaram, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya
So, Karthik, gone
Samaprabha.
off. You gone to the Apple IQ, enter passcode. Did you move the mouse or something? I didn't do anything.
Please mute yourself, everyone. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badharayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Ratmete Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Namaha. Om Shri Medha Dakshina Murti Swamine Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste everyone. Once again.
Namaste.
Namaste. Atita ananusandhanam bhavishyat avicharanam audasinyamapi prapte jiva muktasya lakshanam. So here we are now discussing the slokas where Acharya is describing the characteristics of a Jivan Mukta. A person who has gained jnanam, who has assimilated the jnanam, and who abides in that jnanam while living itself. And as we discussed, in this shloka, the Acharya is talking about two beautiful faculties of human beings. The first faculty is called Atita Ananusandhanam, the faculty of remembering the past. Actually, Atita Anusandhanam, faculty of remembering the past. The second faculty is Bhavishyat Vicharanam, capacity to think of the future. Both, as I said, is a great boon. The past remembering faculty is a very fantastic faculty. In fact, all our day-to-day transactions are possible only because of that faculty through which we can remember the past. The continuity we can maintain in all our transactions. But the same memory becomes terrible if I recollect the past for the wrong reasons. In what way, what all ways people hurt me, or in what all ways I hurt people, past regrets, guilt, hurt. If I'm going to remember all of them, life will become miserable. Not only I will lose the present, I will also make the present miserable also. Similarly, the future visualization faculty can be a blessing or it can be a curse also. I can prepare myself for a wonderful future, plan how I am going to spend my old age, for example. Or I can keep worrying about the type of old age I will have. Will my kids be around to take care of me and support me? Will I have enough financial resources? Because I have never thought about my old age, but now I am confronted with that. But at the same time, if you visualize your future, what are all the challenges to the best of your ability, you can foresee, you can plan for it. Thus, the future visualization faculty can be a blessing or it can be a curse also. And Jivan Mukta is one who has learned to use both the faculties beautifully. Therefore, he doesn't regret about the past. He doesn't fear the future also. What about the present? Acharya says, Audasinyam api prapte. That present is actually, it's very difficult to define present. One can say present is this moment. The moment you say this moment, that moment has passed away. Present has become past. You can't hold on to the present at all. So that fleeting moment, he confronts and conducts himself appropriately even in that present moment. He makes sure that he never builds up any raga or dvesha over the present. Actually, literally, audasinyam means indifference or disregard. Udasinyasya bhavaha audasinyam. But here in this context, you should not take it in a negative connotation. It means he doesn't get stuck with either the past or the present. He moves on. He allows things to flow on. Along with the flow, he also moves on. He doesn't get stuck. Stagnation, he understands, is dangerous even in the mind. So, audasinyam here means avoidance of raga dvesha with regard to the present. Api prapte. Prapte means with regard to the present that has just come. That fleeting movement, it's like a breaking news, In fact, many sattvic people come to spirituality. They have very firm belief in God. But the morning or the news or newspaper, wherever they read, they see the news, they find many negative things. And they find that lot of adharma is happening all around. Abuse is happening. And this will be our own experience. I mean, day to day, a lot of questions come in our mind. As individuals, we cannot do anything because that macro is not our department. Managing the macro is Bhagavan's real jurisdiction. Only Bhagavan has got to manage the macro, manage the Jagat. So when I am not able to do anything about it, even though there are so many wrong things going on, how can I afford to worry about that? Worry will not solve the problem. Therefore, if you read the newspaper or see TV news, etc., and worry about India, worry about the world, worry about our religion, etc., that worry is not going to serve any purpose. People are agitated over religious conversions, whether our religion will survive or not. All these are all, people, so many debates, discussions keep going on. What is the point in worrying about it? Of course, you can contribute. All that you can do is at the individual level, serve the religion. But worrying about religion at the macro level is unhealthy. Service is important. I will contribute to my religion in sustenance, not only myself, I will ensure that the generations after me also follow this. They lead a dharmic life. I give them the values which our religion gives. I will be diligent in performing Brahma Yajna, Veda Yajna, Culture Yajna, etc. All the Yajnas. Whatever possible, I will make my contribution. And I will not worry about the macro level. I have got only one reassurance. Sanatana Dharma has survived for eons. People don't even know when it all started. Even today, it is being practiced by a large number of people. That is the reassurance I have got. Hinduism will survive. Whether I contribute, I do anything to it or not in terms of managing the macro problems. Survival of Sanatana Dharma, that is why it is Sanatana Dharma. Nobody can take it away. It will never ever vanish. That is the truth. Therefore, we need not worry too much about it. In fact, many people who are sattvic, they are depressed because of the present state of the world. That is also called sattvic samsara. They are noble people, no doubt. They have values. So they cannot withstand these events. But all said and done, the moment you are, emotionally upset, you start worrying, you are back to samsara only. Whether it is sattvic samsara, rajasic samsara, or tamasic samsara, samsara is samsara. And a jnani avoids sattvic samsara also. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter, Bhagavan Krishna talks about the bondage caused by sattva guna. He says, if you want to avoid worrying, you have to leave the macro to Bhagavan. You must practice certain delegation of powers, delegation of duties. And that is the whole management theory is all about, isn't it? Whatever you can do and only you can do, you must retain that for yourself to be done. All remaining, if it can be done by somebody else, delegate that to those people. That is how a successful manager manages the business. I cannot do anything to change the world, but Bhagavan can. So leave it to Bhagavan to take care of it. There's a beautiful saying, light a candle instead of cursing the darkness. By cursing darkness, it will not go. By lamenting, it will not go. By worrying, it will not go. All that you can do or you should do is light a small lamp. At least in a small area, there will be no darkness. And we should remember that whenever we read or see in TV what is happening, invariably all the news is negative. Somebody is hacked to death. They graphically take pictures, videos, show them repeatedly. And whenever we watch the news, our mind gets disturbed. How can we sleep? Then one may ask, does it mean that I watch all these things and I am indifferent to it? I should be indifferent, not bothered. No. You must have empathy. But by seeing that and worrying about it, we are not improving the world. We can only pray, let people be compassionate. We can do prayers. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya. We can pray. 3 times, 4 times a day you pray. And instead of that, if I'm going to see all these gory news and then start worrying about it, lamenting about it, you are landing in sattvic samsara. And especially for Vedantic students, who have already imbibed certain values and all, this sattvic samsara is a very serious problem. And therefore, a jnani is one who is indifferent to that also. That means he knows what his department is, what is that he can do about these things, and what is Bhagavan's jurisdiction, Bhagavan's sphere. He does not poke his nose into Bhagavan's department. Therefore, audasinyam apiprapte. With regard to all things that are arriving, he avoids ragadvesha. That is Jivan Muktasya Lakshanam. What a wonderful mind he will have. Just imagine. That is the definition of a Jivan Mukta. Continuing, 87th verse. Gunadosha visishtesmin swabhavena vilakshane sarvatra samadarshitvam jivan muktasya lakshanam. Another aspect of a Jivan Mukta's characteristic. The Anvaya of this sloka is Guna dosha visishte swabhavena vilakshane asmin sarvatra samadarshitvam lakshanam jivan muktasya. Guna dosha visishte, distinguished by acceptable and unacceptable qualities. Swabhavena, by nature. Vilakshane, distinct from each other. Asmin, in this world. Sarvatra, in all situations. Samadarshitvam, vision of equanimity, vision of samatvam. Lakshanam is the characteristic Jivan Muktasya of a Jivan Mukta. So a vision of equanimity with reference to the objects of this world, which are endowed with acceptable and unacceptable qualities and are distinct from each other by nature, is the characteristics of a Jivan Mukta. Now, even after gaining Atma Jnanam, a Jivan Mukta, because of Prarabdha, his body continues. And as long as the body continues, whether I like it or not, I have to experience Anatma. I know Anatma is not there in all 3 periods of time. But Anatma being Mithya, even though it is not really there, it will continue to appear. like a dream. It will continue to appear. But that is the nature of mithya. Mithya is that which is not there, but it appears to be there. Earlier we had discussed so many examples. And the nature of anatma is, it is a mixture of both good and bad. And that is because the entire creation is born out of samashti karma of living beings. Whenever we talk of creation, the Bhagavan has created the world. Bhagavan has not created the world according to his own whims and fancies, likes and dislikes. Bhagavan creates the world based on the prarabdha. Not of the world, but of the jivas. The collective prarabdha of the jivas. Samashti jivas, samashti prarabdha is responsible for the appearance of the world. Not only appearance, its continuity and all the events. And while living, a human being contributes his agami also. So samashti prarabdha plus samashti agami is the cause for the appearance, sustenance of the world. So every human being is contributing. And he has got a free will also. But often we find that the free will is governed by his raga dvesha, not dharma adharma. So when such human beings are there, whose free will is dominated by raga dvesha, they violate dharma also. And therefore there will be good things and bad things in the world. And there will be good people who are guided by dharma adharma. And there will be bad people dominated by raga dvesha. Intrinsically, there is nothing called bad people. It is their raga dvesha which forces them to indulge in adharmic activities, and they get labeled as bad people. And this raga dvesha is not the acquired raga dvesha. It is also a brought forward raga dvesha from the previous janma. Therefore, these two groups of humanity will always be there. And similarly, in prarabdha also there will be two types, punya prarabdha and papa prarabdha. And given all these things, the world will never be perfect. This is something that we have to very clearly understand. If you are looking for perfection in the world, only you are going to suffer. Perfection of the world is a delusion. And unfortunately, that is what we try to do, When we are seeing so many things happening around us, we are looking for a perfect situation. That perfect situation will never happen. So time and again we are disappointed, frustrated, depressed. Even if you look at our Itihasa, Puranas, in Treta Yuga, even during Ramayana time, there was a Ravana who took the sannyasi vesha and abducted Sita. So it is not that Treta Yuga was a very perfect yuga. There also dharmika, dharma, adharma was there. And in Krita Yuga, Veda was stolen. The Puranas tell us, Purana stories tell us. And we don't need to talk about Dwapara Yuga and all, what all things happened. Draupadi being disrobed in front of so many people. I mean, what worst can happen to a society rather? And that too being tolerated by people who claim themselves to be dharmic people. So every yuga you take, good has been there, bad has been there. Vishama Anubhava will be there. Vishama means non-uniform, non-sama. Visama becomes Vishama. Every yuga, this Vishama experience will be there. A Jnani also, no? If he reads the newspaper, he will know, oh, there is some tension going on with China. We don't know what will happen. People will die if war breaks out. It's all possible. All because of Raga Dvesha is there. Therefore, we should learn to maintain the mind, samam, in spite of Vishama Anubhava. And for that, Karma Yoga and Nishkama Bhakti are required. We must learn to look at everything as Bhagavan's work. See everything as Vishwarupa Ishvara. That's what a Jnani does. A Jnani sees everything as Brahman plus Mithya Nama Rupa. So whether you call it Vishwarupa Ishvara or you call it Brahman with Mithya Nama Rupa, everything is the same only. The differences are superficial. And this awareness of oneness is required in and through the pairs of opposite. It is called Nirdvantata. Bhagavan Krishna says in the Gita, Nirdvando Nitya Sattvastaha Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. Learn to keep the mind sama in and through all Vishama Anubhava. So a Jnani, a Jivan Mukta is a person who is liberated even while he continues to live in the world and thus experience the Mithya world. He is intensely aware of the nature of the world, which he has actually meditated upon. You must note, Vedantic meditation includes not only meditation on Brahman or Atman as Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithyatva Dhyanam also is intrinsic part of Vedantic meditation. It is inseparable part of Vedantic meditation. In fact, Vedantic meditation covers all three areas. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahma eva naparaha. That is what ultimately has to go and sink into your subconscious. Jivo Brahma eva naparaha is the ultimate teaching. Therefore, in that meditation, a Jnani has also registered the features of the world. That doesn't come to him as a surprise. In fact, we highlight 6 features, 3 pairs of the world. The first pair is Guna Dosha Visishte. Guna and Dosha. The world is a mixed bag consisting of both good and bad. It has to be so because, as I said earlier, the world is a product of Prarabdha Punya Papa of the entire humanity. Just as the individual has got Prarabdham, the humanity has also got Prarabdham. And the humanity is engaged in various activities, all of which will produce agami punya papam also. And therefore, the world is a mixture of prarabdha, agami, punya, papam. And the consequence of punya, papam will be what? Guna and dosha. Good and bad events and experiences. So this is one feature of the world, guna, dosha. The second feature or the second pair of features is that the whole world is a mixture of karyam and karanam. Cause and effect. Parents are the cause, children are the effect. And not only that, every object in the world will play the role of both karanam and karyam. Our children are karyam, but they themselves will become karanam of their children. Therefore, the world is a mixture of karanam and karyam. And this karanam karyam will constantly get interchanged. Actually, similarly, even this mixture of guna and dosha, they will also get interchanged. What is guna becomes dosha, and what is dosha becomes guna. Good becomes bad, bad becomes good. Closest example is our own body. First half of life, healthy body will give good experiences. In the later part of life,
I kept it here only. இங்கே கொண்டு வந்து வச்சேன் so that you can take.
have you muted? So the first half of our life will have good experiences. Later part, the very same body becomes a burden. So every asset becomes a liability. The guna dosha pair, the karya karanam pair, all of them get interchanged also. And the third pair is the consequence of all this. Everything in the world is past or future. There are so many future events waiting to happen. If anybody is unmuted, please check and mute. All those future events, briefly they come to present, momentarily, fleetingly go through present, then the whole future becomes past. As I said, yesterday was today's future. Very soon today will become yesterday, the past. Thus everything is past and future. Future getting converted into past is life. All of us one day will be taking a prefix late to our names. And it will go on. Of course, we don't want to think of all that, but then that's a reality. So past and future, bhutam and bhavyam. So guna dosha hai, karya karana hai, bhuta bhavya. These are the 6 features of the world. And a jnani is intensely aware of this continual flow. And all our instruments are designed to appreciate or to experience this world of 6 features. But Vedanta is a unique source of knowledge which introduces another thing, which is diagonally opposite of this world, which is free from, different from all these 6 features. one which we can never know with our ordinary instruments of knowledge. Scientists have not discovered it, also they will never discover it. That additional factor, which is very much in and through the world, we keep missing that. And that is what, in Kathopanishad, Nachiketas asks Yamadharma Raja, Anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat, anyatra asmat krita kritat, anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha yat tat pashyasi tadvada. Anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat. Dharma here represents guna. Adharma represents dosha. Excuse me. So, anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat, other than good and bad. Anyatra asmat krita kritat, something different from both cause and effect. Anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha, something other than past and future, including the present. Yat tat pashyasi tatvada. What you see, please tell me that. I hear that there is some extraordinary principle. Please teach me that. Nachiketas asks Yamadharma Raja. Yama initially avoids answering the question. Finally, he concedes because of the perseverance of Nachiketas. And he repeatedly talks about Brahma Atma Tattvam. And he repeatedly says, Etat Vaitat, Etat Vaitat. If we get an opportunity to study Kathopanishad, we'll enjoy all these things there. So the seventh thing, which is everywhere, which we are not aware of, is Brahman, the existence principle. It is Atma, the consciousness principle, which is you, the very experiencer himself or itself. That Brahma Atma Tattvam, which is in and through the world, you have to appreciate through Jnana Chakshuhu only, Vedanta Chakshuhu. You cannot experience it with these two or any instrument for that matter, including our eyes. Thus, a jnani through Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam earns the third eye, Jnana Chakshuhu. So, through this Mamsa Chakshuhu, through the regular eye, he appreciates the world. Through Jnana Chakshuhu, he appreciates the Brahma Atma. Atma Bodha, in Atma Bodha, Shankaracharya says, Sarvagam Satchidatmanam Jnana Chakshur Nirikshate Ajnana Chakshur Neksheta Bhasvantam Bhanumadvavate Bhanumandavate. Thus, a samsari doesn't see both, he sees only one. A jnani alone is aware of both of them. He is always conscious of that Atma, which is ever the same. Samam Brahma, Nirdosham Brahma, Nirgunam Brahma, Karya Karana Vilakshanam Brahma, Bhuta Bhavya Vilakshanam Brahma. That Atma he is always aware of. And this is his holistic vision. He is aware of Anatma Prapancha and he is aware of Atma Tattvam also. And that is the uniqueness of a Jivan Mukta. And that is what is said here in this sloka. Gunadosha visishte asmin jagati, in this world, which is characterized by good and bad, cause and effect, and past and future. Swabhavena vilakshane. Not only this world is pluralistic world, every single object or living being in the world is different from every other thing or being. Our very thumb impressions are different for each being. So every being has, or every object has, sajatiya bheda, vijatiya bheda, and swagata bheda. What are these? If you take two animals belonging to different animal species, one is a cow and another is a horse, third is a buffalo, etc. Sajatiya bheda. They all belong to one jati in the sense that they are animals. But there is a bhedam, there is a difference. A horse is not a cow is not a buffalo. That is called sajatiya bheda. Sajati means two or more members belonging to the same species. Here it is animal species. And whereas when you talk about difference between an animal and a plant, they belong to the entirely different species, vijati. So there the difference is vijatiya bheda. Between plant and plant or animal and animal, it is sajatiya bheda. Plant and animal, vijatiya bheda. And then if you take just one member itself belonging to any species, within that member itself, there are so many internal differences. Like the plant has got roots, trunk, branches, stem, leaves, flowers, fruits, all are different. Each one is different from the other. Thus, there are differences within the plant also. Similarly, within animals, including human beings, they have body, legs, eyes, ears, etc. All these come under internal differences called swagata bheda. So the world is a bundle of sajatiya, vijatiya, and swagata bheda. Whereas Brahma Atma is an extraordinary principle which is free from bhedatrayam, which is advaitam, which is bhedarahitam, and a jnani is constantly aware of both. Sorry. This is his uniqueness. So, swabhavena vilakshane. Swabhavena means by its very nature. Vilakshanam, different. It is different. So, swabhavena vilakshane refers to the world is endowed with threefold differences. And who is a Jivan Mukta? Sarvatra Samadarshitvam. In and through all these differences, in and through all these vilakshanam or vishamam, he sees samam, uniform, non-different Brahman, in the form of existence everywhere, in the form of consciousness all the time. Every experience has got existence and consciousness. Even when you talk about an object, say a wall is existent. Wall is known. Wall is a subject matter of knowledge. So existence and consciousness is there even in a wall. And that existence and consciousness is what is Brahman or Atma, we say. We say the wall is. That isness and knownness pervades every object. If the isness is missing, you cannot talk about the object. If knownness is missing, you cannot talk about the object. And therefore, easiness and knownness, the existence and consciousness principle is samam. It is common in all objects. Therefore, sarvatra, in every experience, in every object, like Kena Upanishad says, pratibodha viditam matam amritatvam hi vindate atmana vindate. So, sarvatra samadarshitvam jivan muktasya lakshanam. Bhagavad Gita also in Krishna talks about Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastine Shuni Chaiva Shwapake Cha Pandita Samadarshina. So many slokas are there in the Gita. Then there is another one. Suhrun Mitrar Yudhasina Madhyastha Dveshya Bandushu Sadhushvapina Papcha Papeshu Samabuddhir Visishyate. Samabuddhi, Samatvam. So that Samadarshanam is the uniqueness of a Jnani in and through all his experience of Vishama. Being aware of the screen, even when experiencing the changing, varied characters of the movie. Both are there at the same time. That is Jivan Muktasya Lakshana. Brahman is the screen. And what is Vishwam? Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagare Tulyam. The world is like a movie. Enjoy the movie, but be aware. Movie exists because of the screen. No screen, no movie. This is the understanding characteristic of a Jivan Mukta. And because of this holistic vision, what is the advantage he enjoys? Knowing the advantage is very important, because without knowing that what we are going to get out of this whole thing, we will not get into the trouble of engaging in Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, etc. Isn't it? Especially we are discussing an abstract, difficult subject like Mahavakyam, Lakshana, etc. We may wonder at times, what benefit do I get from all these things? And that is why Acharya in these slokas is pointing out what all benefits, advantage Jnani enjoys. And which is again presented beautifully in the next verse, Sloka 88. Ishtanishtartha sampraptau samadarshitayatmani ubhayatra vikaritvam jivan muktasya lakshanam. Ishta anishta artha sampraptau ubhayatra samadarshitaya atmani avikaritvam Jivan Muktasya Lakshanam. Ishta Anishta Artha Sampraptau. When there is a gain of things, desirable or undesirable, Ubhayatra, in both situations, Samadarshitaya, with a vision of equanimity, Atmani, in the mind, Avikaritvam, absence of response in the form of elation or depression, Jivan Muktasya Lakshanam is the characteristic of a Jivan Mukta. So the absence of elation or depression with reference to situations involving gain of desirable or undesirable objects through a vision of equanimity is the spontaneous expression of a Jivan Mukta. That is the biggest benefit. In fact, as a samsari, we all think that when there is a very joyful experience, we must jump, dance around, hug people, and all that. And when there is a grief or a sorrowful experience, we must cry, shed loads of tears. This is our understanding. If there is some very grave event and somebody is not reacting to it, people will say that you are a jadam. You have no emotions. In fact, in the samsara, in the world, being emotional is a very big qualification. Whereas for a jnani, managing the emotions and keeping them under control, irrespective of the situation, is the advantage he enjoys. Because we must understand, extreme emotions, both joyful or sorrowful, they can cause lot of damage to our body. We have heard of stories, people, they will have something will be there, they will be laughing aloud and then suddenly heart attack, finished. Similarly, the opposite. They will have grief and then go into depression and all that. Mentally, completely balance will be lost. Jnani avoids these extremes. So in the previous sloka, Jnani's jnanam status and intellectual status of seeing everything holistically and the consequent emotional advantage was talked about. That emotional advantage is what? Emotional liberation. Because he is anchored in Samam Brahma, which is ever stable. Whereas the whole world is unstable, is constantly changing. And that is how it gives varieties of experiences, good and bad. And in this changing roller coaster life, a jnani alone has got a stable anchor. And that anchor is Atma, Brahman, which is himself, which is his real nature. And because of this stable anchor, he is able to maintain this emotional balance in and through all turmoils in life. In fact, we can compare the life journey to a travel in a city bus in India. Those who have not been to India, you can visualize. Of course, I think most of you have experience of the city buses in India. Whichever city you take, heavily crowded, and the way the conductor and the driver, they behave. In those buses, sometimes you get a seat, sometimes you don't get a seat. Therefore, you have to stand and travel. And the drivers are all reckless drivers, many of them. He will suddenly start the bus. The moment conductor gives a signal, he will start the bus. And when he comes across the speed breaker, he will apply the brakes suddenly. Or he will take a violent turn left or right. So as a passenger who is standing, you go through all these kind of motions along with the way the bus does. You can't stand steady. You will be constantly moving forwards, backwards, sideways, falling on people. So through all these motions, if you have to avoid falling, you have to hold on to something which is itself stable. So if you are an experienced bus traveler, what will you do? The first thing that you do when you don't get a seat is hold on to the rod on top or to a hanging holder. Even with that, you will be moving all over, but at least you won't fall down. The whole world and the whole life is such a travel in a bus. So an intelligent person is one who looks for an anchor. No member in the family can be an anchor because they are there today, gone tomorrow. Their availability is indefinite. Nothing is stable in this world so that you can hold on to it. Therefore, an intelligent human being looks for an anchor first before even getting into an old age. Normally, we think of Vedanta is for old age when we have nothing else to do. Once we get the anchor, then even through good and bad experiences, which continuously bang and batter me, I may move here and there, but I will never fall. I keep my equanimity. My emotional balance is maintained. And my emotional balance can be maintained only when I have such an anchor. And therefore he says, Ishta Anishta Artha Sampraptau Samadarshitaya Atmani. Ishta Anishta Artha Sampraptau. Ishta Artha means things which we like, desirable things. Anishta Artha means things which I never want. So, what I never expect, that which I have planned for years to avoid, Anishta Vastu. Sampraptau. So, what I wanted to avoid, it can come. Because life is a continuous battle. A boxing match between free will and fate or prarabdham. Prarabdham prayatna. Continuous fight. And moreover, it is an unfair, unbalanced boxing match. Because the prarabdha boxer can see me, but I cannot see the prarabdha. Therefore, it can give me punches left and right. I don't know where I will get the next punch. So, Ishta Anishta Artha Sampraptau, caused by Desha Kala and Prarabdha, continuously challenges arise in life. And how does a Jnani take them? Samadarshitaya Atmani. Because he is anchored in Samadarshanam, means which is ever the same, which means Brahman or Atman. And therefore, Samadarshanam in the previous sloka and in this sloka refers to Brahma Darshanam, Atma Darshanam. Darshanam, of course, you should not understand as visually seeing. It means constant awareness of that, awareness of that. And because of that, Atmani Ubhayatra Avikaritvam. Here Atmani means Antakarane, in the mind. There is Avikaritvam, there is no turbulence, there is no turmoil. There may be emotions, but they are balanced, manageable emotions. We never say there are zero emotions. There will be emotional disturbances, but they will be balanced. FIR reduction. I hope you all remember what is FIR. Frequency standing, F standing for frequency of emotional disturbances, reduced. Wild emotional disturbances, reduced. I stands for intensity of emotional disturbances, reduced. And R stands for recovery period after emotional disturbances, very short. All these three FIR will come down. Everyone will have emotions, but the mind's nature, because the mind's nature is to have emotions. Bad experiences will affect. But then in the case of a Jnani, whatever emotions he gets, he is able to successfully handle all of them, manage all of them, because he has a very low FIR. We'll continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate.
Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Thank you all very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaste.
Stay.
Thank you, Guruji. Pranam. Very nice session.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Namaste. Yes, Girish ji.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Another excellent, excellent play today. Outstanding. Lot many, practical tips were given. Fantastic.
Vedanta.
And yeah, that is Vedanta. Very true, very true. Every day, we cannot say that. All I can say is actually from the transactional life, after getting into this, we came to know that we know nothing. Because that is what ultimately we are all thinking in terms of our educational qualifications or our experiences. And we consider ourselves as somebody. And now after getting into Vedanta, I realized that we know nothing. And so we are nobody. And
No,
this
we know things. I won't say we know nothing. We know things which are not of any use.
Any use. Yeah, very true. Very
That's
true.
what it is. We know so many things, but we can't employ any of them for any benefit for us. In fact, those things will lead to more and more problem and mental disturbance only rather.
Very true.
It's a unique knowledge. Vedanta is a very unique knowledge. And it is, of course, we are all able to appreciate it thanks to our, the blessings we have got. But I can tell you, so many people, after hearing this also, they will not be able to relate to all these things. They will say, well, nothing, not impractical.
No. Now I started realizing that why the Shravanam is so important, that unless otherwise we, puna, how many types of repetition is essential for making that small information to transformation change,
And that is why every scripture, every Acharya, you listen, this he has already told in the last class. If you say, he will keep on repeating it only. Because by repeated Shravanam only, this will sink in our mind, in our intellect.
True.
Once or twice you hear, it will not make any difference.
And here, actually, you were referring to Jivan Mukta. And also sometimes you are referring to Jnani. Is this Jivan Mukta, Jnani, Pandita, or Siddha Prajna? It's all the same. Okay.
Different
It's
names
all...
used in different contexts.
Okay.
All
Okay. It's all the same. It's all the same. Thank you very, very much. Actually, until I was thinking that I am a spiritual person because I used to read books, this, that, and I have everyday evening puja, this and that has been happening for the last almost 20-25 years. And considering myself as, better than the others, but the real spirituality started only once I came to know about moksha. Till such time, moksha was not there in the dictionary at all. We have been doing many things, but we never knew what is our ultimate goal.
Correct. No, that is why, Vedanta is that thing, and everybody cannot come, everybody cannot appreciate also.
Very true. Very true.
Once you appreciate, you are able to grasp it, then it becomes, you want to read more and more and more, different perspectives, different angles. The same subject is talked about. 108 Upanishads all talk about this only, but with different stories, different things, and all, that itself becomes a very nice experience for you.
And it's a real blessing for us to come into such sessions, and particularly people like you who are leading us and making that small changes. God bless. Thank you so much.
We can. Small changes, if you apply your mind, you can make, and you can become a Jivan Mukta in this life itself. That is the whole thing. That's what.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very kind of you. Hari
Om. Thank you. Any other question? Not there, then I'll close the class. No hands are going up. Okay, Hari Om. Thank you very much. We'll catch up next week. Continue.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Thank you. Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.